All right, guys, we're going to give this a shot. So this is kind of weird. It's not something any of us expected or have ever dealt with before, so we're just kind of rolling with it. But this is what we got. So it is March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Actually kind of look like a leprechaun. That's not great. All right, guys. So look, I'm going to go over the Pitt County released packet that some of you have been able to access online. And if you were not able to get it online, you're going to be able to pick it up from the school. I'll try to get you more information on that kind of as I get it. But right now, if you have not done day one of that packet, pause this because I want you to have day one done because I'm going to go over each of those questions just how I would go over them in class. If you got questions on some and you didn't know how to do them and you just skipped them, that's fine. But if you have not done day one yet, stop this video, pause it, whatever, go do day one and then come back and watch it. So day one was comparing fractions, equivalent fractions, decomposing fractions. We've probably been doing that for weeks, if not months, through Fan 5, EOG Friday, and classwork. My biggest concern with this is never the math. It's whether or not you read the questions. And a lot of these questions are effort questions, meaning they require just a little bit of work. The work's not the hard part. You just got to do it. So I'm going to see the easiest way to kind of do this. I know I can pull it up like this, and you should be seeing that. It's going to be kind of hard to go over it, so I might do it on a whiteboard. But if you could have this sheet like sitting in front of you, that would make this even easier because I'm going to try and just do this whiteboard. I think it's going to be easier for me to do it this way if I can figure out draw. Here we go. Nope. Stamp. Nope. You don't have like a marker or something? You kids know I can't stand my smartboard. I really don't like this. Hold on. Whiteboard. Share. Oh, okay. There you go. Clear. Oh. All right, we're good. All right, so I'm looking at number one. It says at recess, a group of students ran as far as they could in 5 minutes. It gave you Luke, Nick, Josh, Cam. It shows you how far they ran. Now it says who ran the shortest distance. So you're trying to figure out greatest, least, and if we're talking shortest distance, we're trying to figure out who ran the least. Now, you guys know what I would do if I'm dealing with more than one person, one thing, one day, 1 week. I'm always going to draw a chart. So I'll go Luke, Nick, Josh, Cam, and I'll just list their totals underneath. Nick was 3/10, Josh was 3/4, Cam was 2/3. So here's what I mean when I say this is an effort question. You've got to figure out, to compare those, figure out which one's the least. You've got to do some cross multiplying here, and you've got more than one fraction. Some people are not going to be willing to do that, even though it takes 30 seconds because you guys know your facts. So just pick two people to start with, eliminate one, and keep going. So we'll start with Luke and Nick. When you cross multiply, 2 times 3 is 6, 10 times 1 is 10. We're trying to figure out who ran the shortest distance, meaning the least. So if you're looking at Luke and Nick, you're going to get rid of Luke. Then I would cross multiply Nick and Josh. 10 times 3 is 30. 4 times 3 is 12. Again, we're looking for the least shortest distance. That one's pretty clear. Nick ran the least there, so Josh would go. Maybe I can do this to make it a little bit easier. Oh, yeah, baby. Now I'm rolling. All right, then we got Nick and Cam. Cross multiply again. 10 times 2 is 20. Oh, Lord, I'm falling apart. Nope. I just want to draw. There we go. 20. 3 times 3 is 9. You can see again, after you've cross-multiplied them all, you would eliminate Cam. If you're looking for who ran the shortest distance, that answer would have been C, Nick. If you got that one right, awesome job. That one to me is one that if we were doing it in Fan 5, I would say we would probably Ric Flair that one, or should. Looking at number 2, it says Jake shaded this model, and I can show you that model real quick. So if you're looking at this picture, it says which fraction shows the same shaded fraction as the one above. So obviously you got to figure out what this fraction is. You get your denominator from how many total pieces you have. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 of them are shaded. That gives us 2/8. And you guys know if I'm trying to find the same fraction, really I've got 2 options. But if it gives you if it gives you, not the whiteboard, if it gives you answer choices, you can cross multiply. So it gave us 2/8, and then the answer choices were 2/6, 1/6, 2/4, 1/4. Now really you should be able to look at the numerators and denominators on these and eliminate some, but we can just run through them all real quick. So if I cross multiply with A, 2/6, 8 times 2 is 16, 6 times 2 is 12. That one would obviously not work, so I'd get rid of that one. And then I would try B, which is 1/6, which again, if it's not going to be 2/6, probably not going to be 1/6, but we'll check it. 8 times 1 is 8, 6 times 2 is 12. Again, they are not equivalent, so we'd be able to get rid of that one. Then I would plug C in there, which is 2/4. 8 times 2, 16. 4 times 2 is 8. Again, not equivalent. And even though through elimination we have been left with one answer choice, which is probably going to be our answer, it doesn't hurt to check. Ooh, fancy. If I plug 1/4 in there, 8 times 1 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8. Those are equivalent. Number 2 would have been D. Really, if you wanted to, you could have simplified that one. But even if you simplify, sometimes that might not be an answer choice. So you can cross multiply as well to see which one of those would be equivalent. 1 and 2, pretty basic. I say the stuff we do in class is a little bit more challenging than that. But those are 2 questions you'll see on the EOG. All right. Can I clear the whole thing? Oh, I'm getting the hang of this now. I'm cruising now. All right, number 3. It said at recess, Erica ran 3/8 of a mile and Donald ran farther than Erica. Which of the following could be the distance that Donald ran? We actually did one pretty similar to this in our EOG Friday, maybe 2 weeks ago. It wasn't great, but we put it in our Fan 5 and ended up improving it a bunch. So again, I've got more than one person. I can do a little chart type of deal. Here's Erica, and I've got Donald. Erica ran 3/8. Here's the part you just got to read. It says Donald ran farther than Erica, meaning his fraction has to be greater. So your arrow is going to look like this. Now, guys, if it gives you answer choices, this is another effort question. All you got to do is take them, plug them in, do the math, and see which one works. Only one of those is going to be greater than Erica. So if I took A, 3/4, and I cross multiplied, 8 times 3, 24. 4 times 3, 12. That right there shows you 3/4 would be farther than Erica's 3/8, which gives you the answer of A. Y'all know me. Nobody's perfect. We may have made a mistake, so we'll check it real quick. Donald, if I did 1/3, 8 times 1 is 8, 3 times 3 is 9. That would not work. If I put in C, 1/8, come on, dude. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. That one would clearly not work. And last but not least, if I plugged in D, 1/5, 8 times 1 is 8. 5 times 3 is 15. That one wouldn't work either. So even though we got the answer on A for the very first try, check the other answers just in case, because you might have made a mistake, or if there's 2 answer choices that are correct, you might have read the question wrong. So that's just that EOG effort coming in to possibly save you just in case you missed a question. All right. Terrified that this is not recording. Okay, it is. All right, looking at number 4. I mean, this is another one where I'd say if you're taking the EOG, miss the hard ones, don't miss the easy ones. This is one we got to get right. It says, which fraction is equivalent to the model below? This is where a lot of you guys would raise your hand and say, is it talking about shaded or unshaded? Guys, if it doesn't say, it's going to mean it's talking about what's shaded. So which fraction is equivalent to that model? If you're looking at that picture, get your denominator from the total number of pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get your numerator from what is shaded. So we've got 2 6 there. So let me pull up the whiteboard. So here's 2 6. And to figure out which one of those is equivalent, again, you could simplify. That's not going to guarantee you getting the answer, but you could just cross multiply the answer choices. So if I cross multiply with A, 1/4, 6 times 1 is 6, 4 times 2 is 8. Those are clearly not equivalent. And if I plugged in B, 1/6, which again, you can look at your numerator and denominator on that one and know it's not going to be right. But if you do the math, you can prove it. And if I plugged in C, 1/3, 6 times 1 is 6, 3 times 2 is 6. We have found our answer. C is equivalent. But just to make Mr. Huber happy, we will check D, 2 8s. 6 times 2 is 12, 8 times 2 is 16. So there you get your answer of C. You did all the work. It didn't take you long because you know your facts. Just plug them in, cross multiply. And if you simplified, you would get that one correct because that would be an answer choice. All right, that was number 4. And you should feel pretty good about those first 4, to be honest with you. And number 5's right there in that category too. It says, which symbol correctly compares the fractions? Guys, it gives you 2. All you got to do is do exactly what we've been doing on a couple of these questions. You got to compare them, got to cross multiply, and then just plug in your sign. So you've got 8/10, 4/5, cross multiply, 10 times 4 is 40, 8 times 5 is 40. That would show you that those 2 fractions are equivalent. And then right there, you can see that the answer choice is C. That one I'd be jumping out a window if we didn't Ric Flair that one. But, you know, you probably would have got that question last year on the EOG. So, but you'll see it this year. All right, moving on to number 5. Nope, that was 5. Moving on to 6. I really like this question. This is one of those questions you have to kind of stop and think about. And there's so many ways you could do it. You could use a number line. You can use cross multiplication. Me personally, I'm going to show you how I would do it. You know, it's not my way or the highway. If you've got a way you're more comfortable doing it, do it. If it works, it works. So number 6 says, which fraction is between 3/4 and 1? So right there, you got to think, if it's between 3/4 and 1, it's going to fall after 3/4, meaning it's going to be bigger than 3/4, greater, but it's going to come before 1, meaning it's going to be less than 1. Now, if you look at your answer choices, 3 6, 5 8, 4 6, 7 8, every single one of those meets 1 requirement. Every single one of those is less than 1 because we know our numerator and denominator have to be the same in order for it to be equal to 1 whole. So I can't eliminate anything based off of that. The only thing I really need to look at to see is which one is greater than 3/4. And when I put it that way, hey, which one of these is greater than 3/4? All you got to do is cross multiply. Take them, plug them in, do the math, and see which one works. So I think once you get to that point, the question's not hard at all, but it's getting to that point that makes it a little bit difficult. You got to kind of slow down and think about that one. So I would just take 3/4. I hate this color. Can I change this color? Oh, nice. So 3/4, and then I would just plug in the answer choices. A is 3 6. 4 times 3 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. Again, this has to be between 3/4 and 1. It's got to be greater than 3/4. A is not greater than 3/4. So it's got to go. All right. Then I would plug in B, 5 8. Cross multiply. 4 times 5 is 20. 8 times 3 is 24. Again, 5/8 has to come after 3/4. It does not. So B would be eliminated. All right, then I go to C, 4/6. 4 times 4 is 16. 6 times 3 is 18. Again, 4/6 is supposed to be greater than 3/4. It's incorrect. And similar to a question we've already had, even though we are left with one answer, we know it's going to be correct. We're going to check it anyways. 4 times 7 is 28. 8 times 3 is 24. 7/8 would come after 3/4, and it's definitely going to come before 1 because it would have to be 8/8 to get to 1. So your answer for that one would be D. To me, that one, even though the work is not challenging, I think it's kind of hard to get into that point mentally with what you have to do. I think that's a tricky question. So I could understand if you had some questions on that one. But once you kind of think about it and it all clicks, it's not very difficult of a question. All right, halftime. Be right back. All right, I'm back. All right, so here we go. We got number 7. Kind of look like Robin from Batman. Or the Joker. Which one? The Riddler. All right, number 7. Which equation represents the fraction 3/5? Do not make this question harder than it has to be. Every single fraction that we've dealt with when we've added and subtraction, we've had one thing in common every single time. That denominator has never changed. Now, if you get two fractions with different denominators and it wants you to add them, it is possible and there's ways to do it because we've never dealt with that. So when I want to get to 3/5, if you look at answer choices B, C, and D, every single one of those fractions, their denominator is different. But people are going to pick those. Like people are going to pick C because if you look at that math, they're going to do 1 + 2 and get 3. They're going to do 2 + 3 and get 5. But you know we can't do that. You cannot add unlike denominators. If you know that, you're getting rid of B, C, and D really without doing any math at all. Then you get to letter A. Denominator's the same. It's going to stay the same. Still going to be in fifths. 2 + 1 is 3. 7 would be A. But I'm telling you, they give you those answer choices like C because people are going to pick them. And they want you to pick those. They give you those because they know people will pick them. So you got to be really careful with that one. But if you just use some logic on that one, you're good on number 7. Number 8, I guarantee you, if you missed it, which hopefully you didn't, I bet you did awesome math. And you can finish that sentence for yourself. It says, Kenzie made 12 cupcakes. Kenzie's friends will eat 8 of the cupcakes. What fractions of the cupcakes will be left? Guys, the word left is bold for a reason. It's important. You've got to read that. Shout out to you if after you read that, you wrote the word left in big capital letters and put a star. If you look at that and you see that on your paper, you're awesome. If you didn't, you're still awesome, but just do that. You won't miss the question. So another thing that would make you awesome, if you, oh my God, I look ridiculous. If you draw a picture for this, that makes me really happy because it doesn't give you one, but it's very simple for you to say, hey, here's my 12, what is it, cupcakes? Cupcakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. And then the friends will eat 8 of the cupcakes. My picture is not perfect. What fraction of the cupcakes will be left? Again, get your denominator from the total. Well, you know you've got 12 cupcakes. And then you just see what's left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at your answer choices. You don't see it. Don't panic. Go through the mental checklist. Ask yourself, is it improper? No, it's not. So I don't need to convert anything. Can it be simplified? Yes, it can. So once I get to 4/12, and look, you could take 4/12 and cross multiply it with your answer choices. In this case, though, if you simplify, you get it in one shot. So if you take 4/12, list all your factors. You got 1, 2, and 4. Then list your factors for 12. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. find the GCF, your greatest common factor. That's going to be 4. And then divide your numerator and your denominator by your GCF. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. That answer 1/3 would be B. The answer choice that I would really, really, really not want to see would have been 8/12, which if you simplify that would have gotten you down to 2/3. So it really would have been hard to read that one wrong. Because if you did say 8/12 and you simplified it down, you could have said D 2/6 because that would simplify, but it wouldn't be simplified. No, that wouldn't be it either. Yeah, it's almost impossible to read this one wrong. I don't like that because the EOG is going to give you the wrong answer that people are expected to pick. I would have given you 2/3 as an answer choice, but that's okay. I'd rather you get the right answer. But on the EOG, you can bet they're probably going to have 2/3 as an answer choice on a question like that. But if you read that correctly, if you rewrote what the question was asking, and if you drew a picture, that's EOG effort. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, moving on. We got a few left. Looking at number 9. I mean, this is another one like number what? Number 7. You can eliminate answers right out of the gate. Let me, let's see. Number 9. All right, so which expression has the same sum as 3/10 plus 5/10? Well, obviously the first thing you have to do is figure out what the sum of that is. Denominator doesn't change. And then if you do 3 plus 5, you get 8/10. So 8/10 is what you're looking for. If you're looking at A, I wouldn't even waste time on it. Denominators are different. If you're looking at B, I would give those a shot because you're both in tenths. And if you did 4/10 plus 4/10, you would get your answer of 8/10. Now, C, even though they are improper, the denominators are the same. So let's say you didn't have your answer yet. You could still try that. But if you got 20/3, you'd have to convert that to a mixed number, and it would be greater than 1. And when you do 3/10 plus 5/10, you get 8/10. That's not even 1 whole. So that wouldn't be your answer, even though we found it with B. And then D, you could try as well because the denominators are the same, 2/10 plus 8/10, but that would be 10/10, which is also equal to 1 whole. And again, it had to be equal to 8/10. So number 9 would have been B. I'm not really worried about 7 and 9. I think we've crushed that in class. As long as you know, denominators have to be the same and stay the same. All right, our worst enemy, number 10. I want you to look at your work for number 10. I want you to see if you can find your division. I want you to see if you can find where you checked your answer with multiplication. If you did that, thank you. If you did not do that, do it. Goodness gracious, do it. All right, so Steve has to pack 168 books in boxes. He can fit 9 books in each box. What is the fewest number of boxes Steve needs to pack all the books? Now, realistically, you don't even have to do long division on this one. You could just multiply. We're going to do the long division. Now, look, you know you're dividing because when you see that word each, you could be multiplying, you could be dividing, but use some logic. Look at your answer choices. They're all getting smaller. Also, you got equal groups of 9. 9 in this box, 9 in this box, 9 in this box. It all kind of leads us towards the pack of dividing. So I've got 168, splitting them into groups of 9. Let me see if I can do this long division on here. Can I make this smaller? All right. 168 divided by 9. Dangerous monkeys swipe bananas. Start with division. Now look, you know 9 cannot go into 1, but it can go into 16.
Pardon the interruption, teachers. Staff on campus, anyone that holds a CDL, whether you drive a bus regularly or you've not driven at all this year, I need anyone that's holding a CDL license to stop by the office and sign a form. This is something I have to turn in, and it's required by DMV. It has nothing to do with our current scenario, but it's just a form that's required to be on file. Now, anyone that holds a CDL license, please stop by the office and fill out the form. Thank you.
All right, 9 can go into 16 and it only goes once. There's my division. All right. Then I multiply 9 times 1, and I get 9. That's supposed to be a 9, goodness gracious. And then I would subtract 16 minus 9. Now, obviously, I'd have to do some regrouping there, but if I did 16 minus 9, that would give me 7. Then I would bring down the 8, and once I bring down that 8, I get to start over with division. Here's where knowing that multiplication comes in handy. 9 can go into 78 8 times. Oh my goodness. What is happening? That's an 18 up there. All right, there's my division. Then if I do 9 times that 8, I would get 72. 78 minus 72 would leave me with 6, and there's nothing left to bring down. So that would be 18 remainder 6. Now look, you cannot have 18 remainder 6 boxes. It's not possible. You wouldn't go to Lowe's and ask for 18 remainder 6 boxes. So 3 possible answer choices. You could ignore the remainder and have, let me get rid of this. You could ignore the remainder and have 18 boxes. You could use the remainder and have 6 boxes, or you could use the remainder to push up and have 19 boxes. Now, these numbers right here all represent the number of boxes you have. You're either going to have 18 boxes with 9 in each, 6 boxes with 9 in each, or 19 boxes with 9 in each. Now, if you look at your answer choices, you've got 17, 19, 18, and 20. 6 is not an answer choice. I will not waste my time. A, 17 is not a possibility. I'm not going to waste my time. D, 20 is not a possibility. I'm not going to waste my time. So that leaves me with, can I move this? Yes. That leaves me with 18 and 19. And all I have to do to check to see which one of those is correct is multiply. So if I did 18 times 9, 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 7 gives me 16. Now, guys, if you read the question, I've got 168 books. If I use 18 boxes, that only gives me room for 162 books. I need to pack all the books. That's why you multiply. If you multiply 18 times 9, you would realize that is not possible. But if you did 19 times 9, that would leave you with 171, which look, that's more than you need. You only have 168 books, but you would rather have more room than not enough room. The fewest number of boxes would be 19. Now, technically, D would get you all your books in boxes, but that's more boxes than you need. That's why the word fewest was important. So 19 would have given you more room than you needed, but 18 wouldn't have been enough. So that's why your answer there would have been 19. I want to say we've been doing those since maybe October, guys, and those are still giving us trouble. I'm telling you, though, if you do that division and check it with multiplication, you'll get it right every time, but you also have to read the question. Also, if you remember, if it's talking about what's full, it's always going to be this number right here. If it's talking about what's left or behind or remaining, it'll always be that number right there. So there's some tricks to do with that, but you got to read the question. All right. Ooh, is number 11 just like that? Let me see. Clear this out. All right. I'm trying not to make this super long. Number 11. It says Karen and her 4 friends made 115 cupcakes. They are sharing the cupcakes evenly. How many cupcakes does each friend get? I love this question. It's a great question. We actually had this one on our last EOG Friday, and it wasn't the most missed, but it was up there. The math was awesome. The reading was not great. Everybody knew to divide. If you're sharing evenly, that makes that one kind of clear on what to do, especially when you see the word each. See the answer choices getting smaller. If you missed it, I'm willing to bet money that you did 115 divided by 4. But guys, it's Karen and 1, 2, 3, 4 friends. That would be 115 divided by 5. And you know it goes in evenly because 115 ends with a 5. But I'll do that math real quick. 115 divided by 5, not 4. Dangerous monkey swipe bananas. 5 does not go into 1, but it goes into 11 twice. Because 5 times 2 is 10. Division and multiplication. Then I'll subtract. 11 minus 10 is 1. Bring down to 5. Keep going. Divide again. 5 goes into 15 3 times. And if I multiply 5 times 3, I get 15. 15 minus 15 is 0. Nothing to bring down, which means I'm finished, which would give you the answer choice 23, which is B. If you did 115 divided by 4, you would have gotten a different answer. And I understand, what would you have gotten here? See, here's the crazy thing to me. If you did this work, you wouldn't have even gotten an answer choice that would work. So you might have picked 28 or 29, whether you ignored the remainder or pushed up. It depends. But if you read that one right, the math goes in evenly. It's perfect. And if it says they're sharing the cupcakes evenly, you got to know there's not going to be a remainder. So they kind of made these hard to miss with the answer choices that they gave you. But again, if you read them wrong, there's a chance you will. All right, last one, number 12. It says the middle school gym can hold 584 people. The gym was full for all 3 chorus concerts. How many people came to see the chorus concerts? So for this one, same thing. I feel like I repeat myself 100 times. If I have more than one something, I'm drawing a chart. I've got more than 3 concerts, or more than one concert. I've got 3 concerts. So let me pull up my whiteboard. Here is concert 1, concert 2, concert 3. Boom, boom. That means I had 584 people here, 584 people here, 584 people here. 2 ways to do it. One way is a lot easier than the rest. I could do 584 plus 584 plus 584, but instead of doing repeated addition, I'd prefer to do it this way. Multiplying, 3 times 4 is 12, 2 stays, 1 goes. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 1 is 25, 5 stays, 2 goes. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. That would leave me with B, 1,752 people. And guys, again, logic comes into play on like every question that you do on here. If it's saying that the concert was full for all 3, 584 people, I'd get rid of A and C immediately. That number's not going to get smaller because it wouldn't make sense to say, oh, that concert's full. How many people can it hold? 584. How many people were there? 194. That's not full, not even close to full. So logically, A and C could go, and you can go ahead and scratch that division thought out of your mind, and then you got to think, okay, 584, 584, 584. Either add or multiply. I would prefer you multiply. So that's day 1. Day 2 tomorrow is dealing with the same thing, comparing fractions, equivalent fractions, and decomposing fractions. And look, just looking at them right now, they're pretty similar. So my goal would be, let's say you got 10 out of 12 today. Try to go for 11. Try to go for 12. Let's say you only got 6 out of 12. And honestly, this is kind of like Fan 5. I'm showing you how to do it today. You get another chance to do it tomorrow. So your goal should kind of keep track like Fan 5. So keep track of your number today. See what you can get it to tomorrow. Guys, if you have questions on any of these, email me, class tag me, send me a message somehow, and I can try to get you taken care of. But this is day 1. We'll get something knocked out for day 2 tomorrow. Have a great day. Study your multiplication cards. Read books. AR test if you can. I don't even know if you can. Don't drive your parents crazy. Help out around the house. Be polite. Miss you guys. See you tomorrow.